Welcome back to my Forex trading series. In this episode, I'll be sharing a fundamental concept that every trader needs to know: supply and demand in Forex trading. It can impact currency prices and help you make informed decisions. Plus, if you're serious about taking your trading to the next level, I've got something special for you: my exclusive ebook on smart money trading that I've been working on. It includes a complete strategy guide, expert insights, real-life examples, and actionable tips. Click the link in my bio to get your copy and start taking control of your trading future. Don't miss out. Let's get into the charts, my friends. All right, here we are. Okay, here we have two different illustrations. We have an uptrend and we have a downtrend. We have a demand and we have supply. So I'm gonna explain this one by one before I go to the real chart, so that you guys can understand what's going on when we go to the live chart. All right. So let's say the price is making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Basically, when the market is making a series of higher highs, higher lows in an uptrend market, we look for a demand zones. All right. When the market is in a buy status, we look for a demand zone. All right. First thing first, we have to identify the direction of the market first. So higher lows, okay, always. All right, this is not a higher low, okay, this is not your higher low. Your higher low is all the way down here. This is not your higher low. Your higher low is down here, okay, all the way deep. All right, so now that we identified the direction of the price, second thing that we're looking for is we need to mark our break-off structures. All right, so how do we do this? So we have a higher low led to higher high, breaking the previous structure high. So here we have a break of structure. So break of structure stands for, again, BO stands for break of structure, for those who don't know yet. All right, talking to the new people, right? Okay. So now that we identified the break of structure, we have a higher highs. All right. Second thing is we're going to be marking our supply, our demand zones. Sorry. All right. So here we have a supply going down. When the price is going down, this pullback, there's a supply going on here, taking the price to the downside. And then demand came up, took the price to the upside, taking over supply. So now there's more demand than supply. So there's less supply but more demand. So now there are buyers in the market. So once we have this higher high, we're going to mark our demand zone. Usually the demand zone is around the last move before the break of this structure. It could be all the way here, which is the extreme demand zone, or it could be somewhere here before the break of the structure, basically before this supply was taken over. All right, supply has to be taken over in order demand to take over. Okay, all right, so now that we understand that, we're gonna mark our demand zone here, and then we wait for the price to come back. Sometimes what happens is, before it reverses from a demand zone, it takes out what they call it liquidity, which is, a lot of people think that the price might reverse over here and this might be the liquidity zone. So the price is going to take out this liquidity. It's going to come all the way back to demand zone, create a change of character or a reversal, and then continue to the upside. So once you've identified this on the higher time frame, you go to the lower time frame and you wait for the price to come back to the demand zone. Once it hits the demand zone, you wait for the change of character. So how the change of character looks like is, the price hits here. What it's going to do is it's going to create something like this, and then something like that, and then continue to the upside. So this was the last lower high in the internal structure here. The last lower high led to lower low. Price is going to break to the upside, give us that change of character, and now we're going to buy and then target the previous highs, which is right here. All right. So the price left, came back, retested, continued to the upside, and now give us another break of structure, which is right here. Okay, like I said, over here there was a little bit of supply going on here. Supply was in the market selling the price to the downside. There was a lot of supply, the price was falling, and now demand started taking over slowly. So once we took over supply zone, demand is officially in control. So what do we do then? We go ahead and mark our demand zone again. So the demand zone could be somewhere here. It could be somewhere here before the break of the structure, or it could be all the way down here where the extreme demand is. Okay. All right. So now that we identify that, we're gonna wait for the price to come back all the way back to the demand zone, give us that change of character on the lower time frame, and then we're gonna target this highs. Okay. Same thing for the downtrend. All right, same thing for the downtrend. So let's say here we have a downtrend price making a series of lower highs, lower lows. Okay, so we have a price making lower highs, lower lows. Remember, this is not your lower high. Your lower high is all the way far here, because this was the last lower high that led to lower low before we break this structure. So lower high, lower low. Again, lower high, lower low, breaking this structure, and then lower high, lower low, breaking this structure. All right. So now that we identified the direction where the price is heading, we're going to go ahead and mark our supply zones. All right. So how do we mark our supply zones? What happens is the supply zone might be somewhere here before the break of a structure. It might be somewhere here. It might be all the way up there. And most of the time, one thing that I forgot to add this is, if there is a demand zone here and there's a little bit of imbalance, the price will always attract that imbalance to fill the gap, because when there's an imbalance, there is a fair value gap, or there's some type of insufficient between the buyers and the sellers, though the price is always attracted to the imbalance zones in order to make the market balanced instead of imbalanced. All right. So I know this is very too much. Make sure you watch the video a few times so that you can understand the concept and get what I'm teaching here. All right. This video is going to be epic, guys. It's going to change the way you look at the market, and it's going to help you grow. All right. Over here, the only thing I do is give value. I don't bullshit. All right. So we have a lower high, led to lower low. There was a little bit of demand here that was taking the market to the upside, and then demand took market to the upside, because this internal structure is a little bit of demand going on over here, because whenever the market is buying, there's a demand zone. Although the overall market is a downtrend, but there's a little bit of buy going on here, which is the internal structure. So demand was in the market for a little bit, and then supply started coming in and then took over the little demand that was going on here. Now we have a continuation to the downside, breaking previous lows. Okay, so once the market breaks the previous lows, we're gonna go ahead and mark our supply zone. The supply zone might be somewhere here, it might be somewhere here, it might be somewhere here before the break of the structure, which is the last move before the last move before the break of the structure. That is where the supply is. This is what a lot of traders don't know, and a lot of YouTubers, they don't give this type of information because they charge a lot of money for this type of information. All right. I remember when I was, going after the mentors, they've been charging me a lot of money, $1,500, $2,000. It was just crazy expensive. My goodness. But now I'm giving you guys this for free. So make sure you take advantage of it. All right. So the price took over this low, creating lower low, leaving a leaving a supply zone here. Now we're gonna go to the lower time frame. Once this internal structure hits the supply zone, we're gonna go to the lower time frame, and we're gonna wait for the price to basically do some type of change of character and then continue to the downside. So change of character is a reversal. It's not very complicated, it's very easy. You just have to practice. Don't fall for the name, right? You got this, guys. All right, there's another supply and demand here. Okay, there's something called flip supply and demand. Flip supply and demand. So the flip supply and demand is, let me show you guys how it looks like. Let's say the price was creating lower highs, lower lows. Okay, so where's your last supply? Let me just mark it here. Lower highs, lower lows. This is a downtrend example. Okay. So we have the price here creating lower highs, lower lows. Where was your last supply before the break of this structure? Your last supply before this break of the structure is somewhere here, or it could be somewhere here before the break of the structure. It's basically the last move before the break of this structure. So what happens is the market is gonna come up, break this supply zone, retest it somewhere here, and then continue to the upside. So what do you call this? This is what's called flip supply and demand. It was a supply zone and now it's changed into a demand. So this is what they call flipped supply and demand. So this was called flipped supply and demand, guys. Okay. All right. So now that we understand what's going on and the types of supply and demand, now I'm going to go to the real chart and show you guys how it looks like in a downtrend, in an uptrend. All right. Thank you. All right. Here we have gold USD. All right, we have gold USD. We can use any currency to trade with supply and demand. That could be stock market, that could be the crypto market, that could be gold, indices, anything, you name it. There is always supply and demand in any market, even commodity markets, options, everything. There's always supply and demand. There's always people who want to buy and sell. As long as they're buyers and sellers, there's always supply and demand. So make sure you know that. You guys been asking me these questions a lot. All right. One thing, guys, be aware of the scammers in the comment section. All right. Okay. So here we are. We have first, before this the supply took over, first we have an uptrend here creating higher highs, higher lows. We have higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay, we have a higher low. Okay, we have a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher highs. Okay, and now we have a lower low here. All right, so what's going on here then? Let me just clarify everything here. Okay, what's going on here is, as the market was making higher highs, higher lows, breaking structures to the upside, we have a break of structure. Again, we have another break of structure to the upside. Okay, so this was our last break of structure, which wiped out any stop loss that was sitting over here. This week over here that you see, it wiped out everything that was sitting right here. Okay, and now the market started dropping to the downside, breaking this structure. Whenever you're looking for a break of structure, it has to be a valid pullback. So it has to retrace the last down candle before the down move. Okay, this structure has to be valid because it broke the last up candle before the down move. Okay, the last up candle before the down move is broken. So what this means, this is a official change of character. All right, so now that we have the change of character, or what they call a reversal, we're gonna go ahead and mark our supply zone. Supply zone could be somewhere here. You see it? Okay, somewhere here, because this is the last candle before this break of a structure. Okay, before the break of this structure, this was the last candle that caused the break of a structure. There was a supply in the market. There was a demand in the market. Supply took over, taken out demand. Our friend here was taken out by supply. Now there's more supply than demand, meaning there are more sellers than buyers. Simple as that. Very simple, guys. Very simple. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and mark our supply zone. The price is gonna go back, retest our supply zone, and now continue to the downside. Again, here we have another break of structure. We have another break of structure here. Okay, price started going to the downside. So now here we have another break of structure. All right, as we can see, price left a lot of imbalance going on here. There's a lot of imbalance here. That means the price is eventually going to come back and fill this imbalance. If you go all the way back, maybe you will see something. Okay, so now we have another break of structure to the downside. Once we identify this break of structure, now we look for a supply zone again. Okay, the market came down, went back, did a little bit of retest here, retesting this little, demand zone, flips the demand zone here, because there was a little bit of demand zone right here, this up move before the down move. So this is a flip demand zone. The price dropped, came back to retest this flip demand zone, and then continue to the downside. Okay, again, here we have another break of structure. Some people have been asking me, can a wick be a valid break of structure? Yes, it can be a valid break of structure until you have a confirmation you're not gonna take the trade though. So you cannot just take a trade whenever you see the wick. You can't just continue taking the trade. You have to wait for a confirmation in order for this wick to be a valid break of structure. So once we have another break of structure here, what we're looking for is another supply zone. Where was the last up candle before this down move taking over this little demand here? Okay, it was this one right here. All right, let me just mark it right there. Another thing, guys, that I didn't tell you is there is always a little bit of imbalance around the supply and demand zones. So if you look at here, there was a little bit of imbalance going on. So the market went back, balanced the market, going back to the supply zone, and then continue to the downside. All right. Okay. So again, we have another break of structure, which is a valid. Why? Because this was the last down candle before this up move. So it was taking over a little bit of demand going on here, taking the market to the upside. There was the sellers in the market, and then the buyers came into the market. They start buying a little bit, and then the price started dropping again. So what do we do this? Okay, now we have another break of structure. We mark our break of structure again. Once we mark our break of structure, we're gonna mark our supply zone here. So this was the last up. If you go to the lower time frame, this candle has a little bit of a buy to it. Okay, there was a little bit of buy and sell going on here if you go to the lower time frame. So we're gonna mark the last candle here before the down move taking over demand here. Okay, there was a little bit of demand, supply started coming into the market again, leaving a little bit of imbalance too. So if you look at here, there's a little bit of imbalance going on between this candle and this candle before the break of the structure, after the break of the structure. So what's going to happen is the market is going to come back, retest supply zone, and then fill this imbalance going on because there was insufficient going on between buyers and sellers. Price is going to go back, refill it, and then you go to the lower time frame, wait for a change of character, and then continue selling this market. Okay, again, here we have another break of structure. We have another break of structure over here. Okay, so what's going on here is the price was going down. There was a lot of supply in the market. Demand came up and it started buying from here. There was a little bit of demand going on here. So demand took the market to the upside, a little bit of buy going on instead of the sellers. But the overall is sellers are the main character in this market right now. But demand is trying to take over, but they cannot. The only thing that they're doing is trying to refill the imbalance gap here. Okay, so the market started going down again, breaking the structure. Before the break of structure, where was your last up candle before the down move? So what you do is, this was your last up candle before the down move. Okay, this is where your supply is. This thing here is just an inducement, or the smart money trader trap, okay, which is called SMT. We're gonna touch that later on another day. This is called SMT. SMT stands for smart money trap. We're gonna learn that later on. So price started taking over this demand zone, creating a lot of supply to the market, lower, giving us a lower low. Here we have a lower high led to lower low. So what was our supply zone in this case? Our supply zone in this case is basically right there, my friends. All right, so now once we identified our supply zone, we take the price to the downside, selling again. All right, again, here we have another break of a structure to the downside. Once we get this break of a structure, we know that there has to be a supply before this demand took over. Remember, I'm teaching you guys supply and demand at the same time. But in every seller market, there's always a little bit of demand. In every buyer's market, there's always a little bit of supply. Every pullback you see in a seller market is a little bit of demand. In every pullback you see in a buyer's market is a little bit a supply. Okay, there's always a vice versa, guys. Okay, so market broke this structure, giving us a lower high here, you know, dropping again. So now where's our last supply before this down move? This is what's going on, because there's no imbalance here. There's a little bit of imbalance between here and here. So this must be our supply zone, my friends. Okay, this must be our supply zone. So now we move this tick. That is a valid supply zone. The price again is going to create a little bit of demand, going back to supply zone, giving us that retest, and then change of character in the lower time frame. Once you identify the overall direction of the market and the price comes back to this supply zone, you are gonna go back to the low time frame. Okay, you're gonna go back to the low time frame, and this candle will probably give you a change of character, which looks like something like this. Okay, breaking this structure, going back, retest, and then continue to the downside. So that's how you enter from a supply zone. Once you identify this on the higher time frame, you have to get that confirmation from the lower time frame. Like if you are a day trader, you go to the 15-minute time frame, the 5-minute time frame, or even if you're an expert, you can go to the lower time frame, like the 1 minute, to get a precise entry. All right, so again, my friends, we have another break of structure. We have another break of structure here. So this time the market left a lot of imbalance. Okay, so as we can see, there's a lot of imbalance going on here. So we know some way, somehow, the price will come back to this area here, and we can see it over here. I'm going to explain this later on. As you can see, the price is going to come back all the way here. So we mark this entire candle, and that we see that the price has come back over here to continue to the downside. Okay, so now we have a little bit of imbalance. Always make sure you mark your imbalances on the higher time frame in case the price comes back to that zone. So what is the imbalance? Imbalance is when there is insufficient or more sellers than buyers, or when there is more buyers than sellers. The market always leaves that gap, and it has to come back and make that gap equal so that they can be a fair price. Okay, all right, this is a business, guys. There's always a business going on between the buyers and the sellers, so you have to get it that way. Again, we have another break of structure here. Okay, so once we identify this break of structure, there's a little bit of congestion going on here, but the price did not come back to fill this order yet. So what it did was it came back to this mini supply zone to continue to the downside. All right, again, we have another break of structure to the downside. All right, we have another break of structure to the downside. Price left a lot of imbalance. We can see there's imbalance going on here. Okay, there's a lot of imbalance going on here, and there's also some imbalance going on here. So what happened? The price came back, retest, going down again. Okay, so about this imbalance, the price came over, refilled it, started going down a little bit, and then breaking up to the upside. All right, so now we have a lower high led to lower low. Now breaking this structure, this is a valid break of structure. So now where's our supply zone before this down move? This is our supply zone here, guys. What happened now is the market went down, created this supply zone, and then now it went back. There's a little bit of demand going back again, back to the supply zone, giving us that retest. Go to the lower time frame, get that change of character, and then sell this market like there's no tomorrow. You get this, guys. You got it. Again, okay, the market here left a lot of imbalance. So we know there's imbalance going on here. So eventually the price is going to come back this to imbalance and fill it later on in the future. All right. In the meantime, this order block is clean. That means later on there's another opportunity, which is right here. You see the market come back to retest this overall demand. Okay. So now we have a buyers coming into the market, breaking this structure, giving us that change of character here. We have that change of character right here. Price started going up. We have another break of structure here. Our supply zone will be somewhere, our demand zone will be somewhere here. Price started going up. Okay, going up, breaking another structure here again. leaving a lot of imbalance, but did not come back yet. So there's a lot of imbalance going on. Okay, and this order block here is clean. This demand zone is clean. That means there's no retest on this demand yet. So we're gonna wait on something happening over here, which we can see the price started going down, coming back to this demand zone here, giving us that flip supply and demand zones, and continue to the downside. All right, now we have here official break of structure. We have another break of structure right here. So once we mark this break of structure, where is our supply? Again, our supply will be this candle before the down move. Okay, this candle here before this break of the structure. Market went back, retest, and then continue to the downside. Okay, remember, there is always an imbalance between supply and demand areas. There's always an imbalance going on around that zone, and the price is attracted to the imbalance zones. It has to basically fill those gaps. All right, so now the market went down, give us that little bit of pullback, retesting this imbalance here. That means there's a little bit of supply going on here. So the market retested, going to the downside, and now here we have a change of character. We have a change of character here. So before the break of this structure, there's a hidden supply and hidden demand zone. Before this supply was taken over, there's a little bit of hidden demand zone on the lower time frame. If you go to the low time frame, in this shadow, there's something going on here before the break of this supply, okay, or before the break of this lower high. So the price give us that higher high, breaking this structure again, wiping out any stop loss that was sitting here, reversing it right away. Okay, reversing it right away, and then after that we have a flip change of character right away here. Okay, so once we get this change of character again, where is our supply zone before this demand was taken over? This demand was taken over by this zone here. So it could be this somewhere here. It also could be this extreme supply zone. Okay, market started going down, went back to retest, and then started going down again. All right, giving us that break of structure one more time. All right, if you look at it, the price left a lot of imbalance here. That means eventually the market has to come back and fill these gaps. There's a little bit of imbalance going on. Price went back, okay, breaking this structure, giving us that change of character, and now we wait for a supply, we wait for a demand zone. So after this demand supply leading us to the lower low was taken over, what happened is there's some type of flip supply and demand going on here. Okay, there's some type of flip supply and demand going on here. So there's a little bit of flip going on here. The market started going up again. Okay, all right, little bit of break of structure, but this is not too much. We can count it, but there's a lot of imbalance going on. So they have a lot of imbalance going on here, and as we can see, the price eventually came back and filled a little bit of it, but there's a lot of empty spaces here. All right, eventually we have a major break of structure. Once we get that major break of structure, we're gonna go ahead and mark our supply zones. We're gonna mark our demand zones here. Okay, we're gonna mark our demand zones right there, because there's also a little bit of imbalance going on somewhere here. Market give us that break of structure, came back to retest, and then continue to the upside. Again, we have another break of structure, my friends. Once we get that break of structure, here we have another demand zone before the break of this structure. All right, and then again we have another break of structure here. Once we get that break of structure, it was a little bit of liquidity grab. Market started grabbing all this liquidity that was sitting here. Then when there was a lot of money that was sitting right there, a lot of stop losses, people who are selling from this support and resistance strategy, they start selling here and here. So the price is going to come up, take out all their liquidity, and then go down. Okay, and then continue to the upside. This is why you always have to wait for a confirmation before you enter or exit a trade. All right. So once we have this liquidity cleanup, we have the market going back here to this little supply demand zone and then continuing to the upside. So now officially we have a break of structure. Once we get that break of structure, where is our demand zone again? Here. Okay, this is our demand zone here. If you go to the lower time frame, it's very, very clear. Price going up, breaking this structure again. Okay, leaving imbalance here. There's an imbalance going on here. Okay, that means eventually the price is going to come back and fill it, which is right here. You can see it. All right. Again, this is a valid break of structure because this is the last high and the low, and it was taken down by this bearish candle. So this is a valid break of structure. Price came back, started going up again, giving us that little bit of liquidity grab, clearing all the liquidity that was sitting here, manipulating, and then breaking to the upside, taking everything off, and then continue to the upside. So what happens? There's no imbalance here, so we wait. This is not a this is a valid pullback, of course, yes, because this was the last buy candle before the down move. It was taken over. Market is giving us a little bit of structure here. There's a little bit supply, little bit of demand going on here. Market came back, retest this demand zone, and then filling this shadow, and then continue to the upside. Continue to the upside. Again, we have another break of structure here, giving us another opportunity of a demand zone, taking the price to the upside. Another break of structure, leaving a little bit of demand here before the break of the structure. We're going to continue buying this price until we have a flip. Finally, we have a liquidity grab that's clearing all this area, creating lower high, higher low, like to higher high, and then breaking this structure, giving us that change of character. Once we get this change of character, we see that the price left a lot of imbalances sitting here. Market came back, retested a little bit, but there's a lot of empty imbalance going on here, and there's also some type of imbalances going on here. If you don't know what imbalance is, you can watch my imbalance videos that I've made on my YouTube channel so that you can understand what's going on. So now on gold USD, we're expecting somewhere somehow the price to go back, and price to go back from here and probably fill these imbalances that needs to be balanced. Okay, all right, now there's more sellers than buyers, so the price has to go back and probably rebalance these areas, you know, and then continue to the downside, selling again. All right, guys, if you like the video, please go ahead, make sure you give it a like, make sure you push your bell notification so that when I post another video, you don't miss out. In this channel, we give a lot of value. Please be aware of the scammers. Also, grab the copy of your PE book and support the channel. I'm giving a lot of information here. I want you guys to be successful. This is very sincere of me. I'm trying my best, okay? I want to make sure everyone in this world gets out of the poverty and the matrix that we're all in. So make sure you work hard and be successful. Work on yourself. Do not ever give up. It took me a long time to become a good trader. You know, there was a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of doubts. I've lost a lot of money in these markets. Trust me, guys. I'm not playing with you guys. I've lost a lot of money that you cannot even imagine. So I know how it feels to struggle. I know how it feels to, you know, feel like, you know, to giving up. But that is not the option. If you give up, what is the deal? You're going to go back to the same ways. You're going to go back to working again 9 to 5. You're going to go back to working for someone else again. And then you will never be successful. And then later on, you're going to die. And life is not going to be very rewarding. So make sure you work on your dreams. Make sure you never give up. Make sure if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. I always listen to your comments and I always see what's going on. And I always try to reply to each and every one of you guys. Also, join the free Telegram in the description, okay? Join the free Telegram in the description. Thank you very much, my friends. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I hope you get something value from this video. Again, this is your brother Jamal. Peace out to everyone that's watching this video.